My testimony: I was a product of the world I grew up in. In school, they taught us that human beings came from monkeys. The textbooks never once mentioned God, not as a creator, not even as a possibility. Instead, they lifted up science and technology like gods themselves. I fell in love with their gospel, the great science fiction. Writers preached it beautifully. Man was ascending. Machines would save us. The jet plane, the rocket ship, the computer, the robot, these were our new messiahs. I devoured it. It was intoxicating. The very idea that humanity was evolving into gods through science became my obsession. But with this new religion came a great fear. If we're all just here by accident, born of chaos and chance, then nothing is truly safe, nothing is certain. And if chaos is in control, then we could all be dead. Tomorrow, I couldn't shake the fear of death. It consumed me. I ruined my eyes staring into the sun, trying to see if it was getting closer to Earth, wondering if it would explode or crash into us. I was just a child, but I was paralyzed with fear. Death was always near in my thoughts. I couldn't play, I couldn't live, I couldn't be normal. I told my mother. She laughed and said I was being silly. But it wasn't silly to me. Death was real, and I was terrified. Then one day a voice spoke, not out loud, but deep in my heart, a gentle word. It wasn't thunder, it wasn't lightning, it was peace. The voice said, I am in control. The world is not chaos, and in that moment the fear left me. Just like that, it was gone. He didn't shout, he didn't argue, he simply reminded me, he lives, he is good. He is in control, and I was healed. I went on with life. I was free to be a child again, but I didn't turn to God. Not yet. I went my own way. By then, I was about 13 years old. Space and science were still my obsession, still my drug. In 1968, 2001, A Space Odyssey hit the theaters. For those of us who worshipped rockets and stars, it was a religious experience. I read the book over and over. I was mesmerized. Let me tell you what it was about. The story begins with a young primate named Watcher. His tribe is weak, unable to fend off wild animals or rival groups. One day they discover a giant black monolith, a 10-foot tall rectangle, just standing there. The primates touch it gently, curiously. Afterward, Watcher picks up a dry animal bone and, in a moment of inspiration, realizes he can use it as a weapon. He smashes it into another bone and sees its power. The next day, his tribe goes to war armed with bones, and they defeat their rivals easily. Then, in a brilliant cut, Watcher throws the bone into the sky and it becomes a spaceship. From there, humanity advances. We travel to the moon. We discover the same monolith buried beneath its surface. It emits a signal directed at Jupiter. Astronauts are sent to investigate. The ship, say I'm malfunctions, kills everyone aboard, and one-man Commander Dave survives. He deactivates the computer and reaches Jupiter, where he sees another monolith. He touches it and is pulled into a psychedelic trip through space and time. Eventually, he finds himself in a room, aging rapidly. He becomes old. He dies. And as he dies, he sees the monolith once again, and he is reborn as a glowing godchild who returns to Earth as a kind of cosmic messiah. The film ends with sirens blaring around the world as the godchild returns to take vengeance. It was mesmerizing, but it was also disturbing. I asked myself, is that it? The strong kill the weak, and that's the purpose of life, to crush others beneath us? And in that moment, the gospel of evolution collapsed in my heart. It was hollow. For if evil triumphs over love, then is life even worth living? I began to wonder, do we need spaceships to find truth? I began to believe the truth wasn't out there, it was in here, in the human soul. We are not machines, we are eternal souls. We can find God if we seek Him not through technology, but through the heart. And if we find Him, He is limitless. But the enemy of my soul was still working. At 13, my home was filled with drugs. My parents were dealers. I'd open a closet and see a whole kilo of marijuana just lying there. I never touched it until one night I was bored. My aunt and her friend were downstairs laughing and giggling. I went down to see what was so funny. They offered me a hit, and just like that I was hooked. I fell on the floor, squirming like a snake. They laughed, and I played along. Suddenly, I was funny, wise, sociable. Marijuana gave me access to secret knowledge, or so I thought. But eventually, continued use didn't feel the same. I dreamed of greatness, but accomplished nothing. I was chasing a high. I wasn't living. I was slowly dying. Then came the headaches, the eye pain, the blood from my nose. I knew I had to stop, but instead I switched to cocaine. One night I bought a whole quarter ounce and used it all by myself. The next morning was hell on earth. My soul felt torn from my body. I drank a whole bottle of liquor trying to escape the withdrawal, but nothing helped. What promised me heaven delivered me to hell. Then came crack cocaine. My brother and I tried it together. Instant addiction. We smoked all night, every night. I lost everything: my job, my health, my voice, my strength. One night I sat alone, burning the last residue from the pipe. It exploded in my face. I thought I had inhaled glass. I said to myself, "You're dying a slow death. Why not end it fast?" And I considered suicide. But then that voice came again, not out loud, but deep in my heart. "You're not going to hurt yourself." I said, "Lord, then what am I going to do?" "You're going to walk away from drugs? Just like that?" "Yes, just like that." And I did. I walked away. He delivered me. I was healed again. But I still didn't turn to him. Then came my first great heartbreak. I got involved with a girl I thought I loved, but she didn't love me. I overheard her laughing about me with her friends. Still, I asked her to marry me. She was offended. Then she dumped me. But she kept coming around. One day her car broke down. She needed money. I gave it to her. As soon as her car was fixed, she dumped me again. I was devastated. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I waited by the phone, but it never rang. Eventually, I called her. She told me the truth. She had only been with me until her boyfriend came back. I was just a placeholder. When I said she used me, she laughed and hung up. I was crushed. Then I was angry. I wanted revenge, but the voice came again. "You're not going to hurt her. Lord, what am I going to do?" "You're going to walk away and leave her alone." "But I loved her." He said, "No, you loved yourself." That broke me. I didn't understand at first, but then he showed me. If I truly loved her, I wouldn't want to control her or trap her. Real love sets people free. That day, I was healed from heartbreak. Not completely, but enough to move on. Later, I got involved in a multi-level marketing scheme. I started selling false hopes to my friends, just trying to get rich. But I saw the pain in their eyes, and I remembered how I had been used. I couldn't do it. I quit. Then God spoke again. He said, "Whatever you gain in this life, you'll lose at death. You don't want things. You want life?" Then he asked me, "Are you ready now?" I said, "Lord, I'm ready." There was a woman at my job, an older lady who always invited me to church. I always said someday. This time I said yes. I went to church, and at the end of the service, the pastor said, "If you want to receive Christ, come forward." I'm not the kind of man who stands up in crowds, but that day I stood, I walked, I knelt at the altar, tears streaming from my eyes. I said, "Jesus, come into my life," and something strange happened. For the first time I felt clean, not just better, not just sober, clean on the inside. I was a new creation. The old me was dead. Everything was new. The trees looked different. The flowers looked different. The sky looked brighter. I had been born again, born by the Spirit of Christ.